he's looking at the numbers, and what he did was it essentially confirmed what his eyes were telling him.
Yeah.
Right? Because after a while, you can get overwhelmed with, okay, this and this and this. Okay, you know what? Let's look at the spreadsheet here. Okay, you know what? Oh, yeah, that's right. He did this or didn't do that. But he had a good eye for it. And he is the guy that, again, 91 years old, passed away. And your guy Messi did nothing last night. Miami got a draw with Nashville. Nothing.
Okay, it was
nothing.
His first ever
0
match for Inter Miami where he has not
0.
had a goal contribution.
They're not going to make the playoffs.
He's allowed one.
Come on, they're not going to make the playoffs.
But speaking of talent and that side of things, a deal that was
Roger? No.
Huh? No. A deal just announced. TJ Hawkinson and the Vikings are finalizing a new deal that'll make him one of the NFL's highest paid tight ends.
That's a temporary.
Okay.
The highest paid guy for about 2 hours in that league.
At this point, yeah. I'm just intrigued to see what number he ends up getting, I think, because I wouldn't classify him as one of the best. I think that is reserved for there's a very select few who are in that like
Kelsey and those guys. I mean,
Kelsey, Kittle, like Mark Andrews.
Yeah, they're all. I mean, they're the elite.
They're the elite, but he apparently is going to be one of those highest paid level guys. Yeah. So intrigued on what the number is here because Waller is 17 currently. He's one of those top guys as well. Yeah. Kittle's 15. Yeah. You'd expect him to, I'd guess, end up around 16 would be my assumption.
Right.
But that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money to pay a tight end on a team that's loaded already with talent. Jordan Addison joining Justin Jefferson as the number 2 wide receiver.
Yep.
Madison at the backfield. Kirk Cousins, whatever you think about him at quarterback.
Yeah.
So it's a big buy. Big buy for the team.
All right. So tonight's schedule. This is the big night to get the weekend going. The big 5-day Labor Day weekend of college football.
Mm-hmm.
We already mentioned Utah and Florida. That is tonight on ESPN. That'll be in Salt Lake. Remember, last year Utah went to Gainesville and Florida State held off a 2-point conversion. And I watched that game on tape because it was one of the ones I watched a little bit before I did the Rose Bowl because I was trying to get a read on Utah. Well, they'll play tonight. Cam Rising's not going to play. Minnesota, Nebraska's on Fox tonight. That's on over-the-air Fox tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And that game will be up at the Bank in Minneapolis. Just down the road in Loretto is St. Francis of Pennsylvania. They're going to play at Western Michigan tonight. That'll
Big
be
game.
on ESPN+. Elon is at Wake Forest in the lid lifter for the ACC network. They are excited beyond words. I think I'm going to text my buddy Wes Durham and see if he's all juiced up.
His energy's flowing for Wes. Okay, he is excited about this game.
North Carolina. We'll have to get Wes on. North Carolina A&T and UAB will play tonight in Birmingham. Rhode Island is at Georgia State. Guess which network they ended up on? That's right, ESPN+. Okay.
Of course.
Tells you everything.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And same thing with UIB, NC State. So those are some of the games tonight.
Yeah. Hey, you've got UConn. UConn plays Hartford. They're playing Pratt and Whitney against NC State.
It's East Hartford.
East Hartford, Hartford. It's all the same thing in one's mind in Connecticut. But they got NC State.
When I was a little kid, my dad worked there. He worked at Pratt and Whitney. Right? Until he started his own business. But he worked at Pratt and Whitney. In fact, the Boeing 747 engine, my dad worked in experimental. Those are the engines he worked on at Pratt.
Dang. Fun fact for you real quick on Pratt and Whitney. I've only been to Pratt and Whitney Field once in my life. I was there for Landon Donovan's last game for the U.S. men's national team of soccer.
I've only been there once. It was Penn State men's lacrosse against Loyola, advancing to the NCAA Final Four, 2019. That's the only time I've ever been there. It was for lacrosse.
Of course, the two of us going to a stadium mainly for football. For neither of us being there for football.
Only Connecticut can build a stadium there
in East Hartford,
and nowhere near campus.
Nowhere near campus, and not even near Hartford either.
No.
It's not near a main city. It's not near the campus.
Well, it's I'd say what, 4 or 5 miles from the river.
Mm-hmm.
And Hartford's on the other side of the river. Literally, Hartford borders the Connecticut River.
It's a weird place, man. It's a weird place. And
I will say this: it has parking.
Yeah, it's got a lot of parking.
Yeah,
but it's not near anything. You'd think they'd try and put it near stores.
And the game, yeah, and so NC State. These are two good coaches. Jim Mora was not handed a lot. Randy Edsall gives one the impression, and I'm not saying it's a fact, but I'm talking about the impression that he was mailing it in, and Mora comes in and takes that, he takes that talent, and he got him to a bowl game last year. How? Dave Doran, head coach at NC State, is he the kind of coach that gets you to the promised land and can get you into the college football playoff when they go to 12 next year? No. He's one of those rock solid 9-win coaches. Yeah. He win 9 games. Can he win 12 games? It's going to be tough. But he's not going to drop you down to 4-8 and have you out of the thing. He's not going to do that. He's really good. And then Penn State's next opponent, Delaware, will play Stony Brook tonight.
Mm-hmm. I have a friend on the Stony Brook coaching staff who is also in my fantasy league. Fun fact. Shout out to Nick. Nick is a part of the first year being a part of a football coaching staff. They're taking on Delaware, and I told him, let me know how they play so I can get a little bit of an inside scoop for next week.
It'll be at beautiful Kenneth Lavelle Stadium on Long Island.
Mm-hmm. Very exciting. Hey, shout out Long Island. Long Island and Connecticut mentioned in one episode. This is crazy. It's a crazy time to be alive.
It's opening night.
Yes.
So,
never again.
Let's go for it here. Valpo is at Youngstown State. Mm-hmm. Sacramento State's at Nicholls State.
Hey, you know what?
Furman's playing Tennessee Tech. All sorts of good stuff. William and Mary will take on Campbell.
If we're giving all the shout-outs here, I'll give a shout-out. Arizona State plays Southern Utah in Tempe tonight.
Yeah.
A friend who starts up at Arizona State this week.
Kent State UCF tonight.
We're just going for it, aren't we?
Hey, it's opening night.
It's opening night of the season, and we're very, very excited.
I mean, what do we do? Talk about the Yankees and the Tigers? Come here, bro.
No. We have standards here, Steve. We don't discuss Josh Donaldson. We don't discuss Harrison Bader. None of them. We don't talk about that.
Feel badly about Bader. I liked him. He played here.
Yeah. Bader, there was a lot. Can we discuss that for a second? There was a lot of waivers. A lot of players got waived. The Angels waived, 7 guys? 6 guys?
6 guys.
One of them was, Giolito, I believe?
Yes.
Just, boom. All of these guys waived. Left, right, and center.
Yeah, everybody's cutting salary.
Everyone's cutting salary. But I don't remember seeing this many, high-level players get waived. There's a lot of guys that you're like, these guys are, actual MLB players getting waived. Left, right, and center.
Yeah.
And they're going to go to teams and help them for playoffs. But still, it's a lot.
Yeah.
And now is the season of prospects getting elevated. For the Yankees, it's Jason Dominguez and Wells.
Right. But let's go back to the conversation I had with Bob Nightingale. Yeah, and again, I know we're revisiting here. Maybe something I brought up maybe twice, 2 other times. But I was talking to Bob, 3 weeks ago. And I said, you got the Yankees, Mets, and Padres 1, 2, and 3 in salary. I said, you have the Orioles, the Rays, and the Pirates 27, 28, and 29 in salary. I think the Pirates might be 28, whatever. But 27, 28, 29. I said, they've got 25 more wins than the other teams. And you know what he told me? He was at the All-Star break where that pattern was already developing. And he said, the people he talked with the Players Association, were really concerned about it. Because when normally when a new collective bargaining agreement comes out, now everybody feels like, okay, let's go spend money because now they have the parameters to do it. Okay. So whether you have a TV contract to go with, the new CBA, you're all set. And that first year, there's money pouring out. Then it kind of slows down a little bit in years 2, 3, 4. What the Players Association told them during the negotiations, hey, look, as the teams that spend money are going to win. So the Padres spend a lot of money. The Mets spend a lot of money. The Yankees always spend a lot of money. And, of course, we know the Dodgers do, too.
So did the Cardinals, another team, spends money.
Spend a lot of money. Now you're looking around, and teams 27, 28, and 29 in payroll are in first place, second place, and the third one's having its best season since 2015. The Pirates.
They are currently tied record-wise with what team from Flushing, New York?
The Mets. So he said the players were privately telling him that they're really worried. The teams are going to look around and go, what the heck do I need to spend all this money? You know, like, for example, the Red Sox are a competitive team, but they're good, but they're not very good. Okay? There's great, excellent, very good, good. The Red Sox are a good team, and on certain days they're very good. They're 15th in payroll. They've cut way back. People think they're one of the top 5 teams in payroll. They are not. They're 15th, despite the Devers contract and despite a previous contract with Chris Sale. As soon as Sale's done, they're going to cut bait. This is the pattern you're seeing. You're looking at teams. Teams are looking around at each other going, wait a minute. You're telling me if I get that guy and spend a boatload, we're going to win. And it's not happening. Look, the Cardinals acquired Goldschmidt. Now, they not as a free agent. They traded for him. They traded for Arenado. But those are big money guys that they have inserted in there to go with some of their homegrown guys like Tommy Edman, who played here, Lars Nootbaar, who played here, people like that. But, they're in last place. Okay? Look at the Reds. The Reds have been an exciting, fun team to watch, and it's a homegrown team.
There's so many teams that are going away from the spending. You're seeing, as you said, the Reds. They're growing talent left, right, and center. They've got crazy talent. You've got the Mariners, grew a lot of their talent.
The Mariners have had a great 3.5 weeks. They have They have been, you can argue, they're one of the 3 best teams in baseball at this hour by how they're playing. And again, same story with them, like you pointed out. They have a lot of homegrown talent down. To their credit, a year ago, they went out and they picked up Castillo in a trade. Right? And he's helped them.
But even then, it's not like they're spending absurd amounts.
No.
Yeah. They have, of course, Julio Rodriguez's contract is crazy, but what is he? Homegrown talent.
Yeah, but that was an arbitration contract. Yeah. Hey, there's a difference between an Aaron Judge contract, which is a second contract, okay, and Rodriguez, who got what I refer to as an arbitration contract. Hey, you're really good. We'll tie you up. They don't always work. Scott, the Kingery kid with Philadelphia, they tied him up to a long-term deal. It's not working out. Nobody knows what's going to happen now with Wander Franco, who has a long. But I'm saying, just because you do it doesn't mean it's going to work every time. They did it. The Pirates did it with Andrew McCutchen. It worked, right? And McCutchen, who is just, by the way, the consummate pros pro, isn't he? Just having him back has been great. But that's the kind of contract they tied him up to. They did not tie up Rodriguez to a long-term contract like a Manny Machado. And Machado was a free agent, leaving the Dodgers to go to the Padres.
Steve, I have a question for you. How many $5 million contracts do you believe the Yankees have and the Mariners have? $5 million or more?
$5 million or more?
$5 million or more. Let's go with that.
What's interesting about the Yankees is they've got a lot of money tied up into a few guys. Judge, Stanton, Cole, right? Rizzo, right? They'd all be in that category. A guy like Gleyber Torres is not making, he can't be making more than 5, is he?
He is.
Oh, he is making more than 5.
He is.
I would say on the Yankee roster, $5 million or more. I wouldn't doubt that Seattle actually has more $5 million guys than the Yankees do because they've spread out their contracts.
As things stand this season, there are on the Mariners 7 guys with $5 million or more.
Yep.
The Yankees have 13.
13 guys.
And this includes Bader, technically,
Right.
Tommy Conley, IKF, Frankie Montas, Gleyber Torres, Luis Severino, DJ LeMahieu, Anthony Rizzo, Carlos Rodon, Giancarlo Stanton, Garrett Cole, Aaron Judge. By the way, fun fact, there are only 5 players on the Mariners who make more than $10 million. JP Crawford, Eugenio Suarez, Luis Castillo, Teoscar Hernandez, and Robbie Ray, who is their highest earner at 21, who makes less than the top 4 Yankees.
And Ray's not pitching.
Nope.
He's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He's out for the rest of the year. He's out part of next year, too.
So you knock him out, their highest earner is $14 million, which is less than Luis Severino.
It's interesting that when they were doing the collective bargaining agreement, we all know the Players Association is opposed to a cap. But the owners have never been able to propose a cap. You want to know why?
Why?
Because there are certain franchises, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Cleveland, a few others, right, that vote no on it. Why?
Because they want to save money and they don't want to hit the floor?
Because a cap means a floor.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody always talks about the cap. Oh, you can't exceed $250 million. Okay. But it's the other end, and we've talked about the Philadelphia 76ers in the NBA. When they were going through the process, they fell below the floor.
Well, that is the interesting part, which I think baseball could utilize. If they didn't want a floor, but wanted like a soft landing, they could do what the NBA did for a few years, which was if you're below the floor, you have to pay the extra amount to all the players equally, which at least means you have to pay them. But there's ways around it. You can work in weird contracts here or there,
So
weird
Philadelphia
bonuses.
fell below it, and they were fined for it.
The only one who I believe did fall below and paid was the Thunder from a couple years ago. SGA got $1 million check in the mail because they didn't pay everyone enough money.
So that's the issue, because they were going to propose escalating like 230, 250, 270 with a $100 million floor. Well, if you're the Players Association, you have to consider that, right? When you're talking about a $100 million floor, because that would raise a third of the teams up above.
You know what the Mariners are currently at as things stand?
I'm going to guess the Mariners are probably about 75.
$114 million this season.
Okay, so they're above.
So they're above it.
They're above it. But Tampa
barely.
Bay, but Baltimore's in the 60s. Tampa Bay is in the right around 60.
60 is your number for the Rays. The Rays are sitting at 85
All right, more
this
than I
season.
thought.
But again, they're at 85 million for a team that is what's their record right now? 82 and 52. It's one of the top 5 in the MLB.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Baltimore is right around 60. All right. I think the Pirates are what? 50, 55, something like that.
Something like that. The Orioles, as things stand, are at 80 million. Who do you believe are their top 2 earners? The Baltimore Orioles.
Top 2 earners.
Top 2 earners this season.
I will go with, who's the outfielder that played in the World Baseball Classic? And I'll throw Mountcastle in there.
It is not Mountcastle. He is 20 or so.
Oh, is he really?
He is. Their 2 guys, their top 4 earners are all over 30.
Okay.
Their top 2 earners are James McCann at 12 million. And Aaron Hicks at 11 million.
Oh, well, they acquired him from the Yankees. He was actually from the Yankees. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they just picked up the Yankee contract.
But those are their 2 highest earners. Outside of them, the only other guys over 5, Kyle Gibson, Adam Frazier, Anthony Santander, and Jack Flaherty. That's it. No one else.
Flaherty they just acquired. See,
Yeah.
See, that's why their numbers gone from 60 to 80 because they picked up Flaherty, they picked up Hicks. That's how it changed.
Yeah.
It was the acquisitions they made in trades,
Of course.
or waiver. They got Hicks off waivers.
Well, by the way, the craziest part of this, and I'm like looking at these contracts and just looking at the table it has on Baseball Reference. So many players go to arbitration, and I arbitration's a whole discussion for another day. But there are on this team maybe 3 players not going to arbitration next season or pre-arbitration. Either way, it's a crazy number of players.
You know what? One day, a guy that worked in the Oakland A's organization for 20 some odd years as a trainer. Okay? Now, the A's, Rich Sparks, who was the A's scout, and Rich and I have played golf. Great guy. Right? So we always had a lot of good conversations about what's going on in the major league level. But one day, one of the trainers came in, a guy who actually, same thing, he worked for the A's for years, and this when the Spikes were a Cardinals affiliate. He came in, he spent about a week here. So I was talking to him one day, and he says, Steve, the part about the game that just is so destructive is arbitration. And I understood where he was coming from because arbitration is an emotionally destructive system, not for the team, for the player. Dylan Betances is a great example. Right? He went through arbitration, and it created hard feelings all the way through because, I know Betances is a pitcher, but let's say Kyle's out there, and Kyle hits 300. They're going to tell the arbitrator that 7 times out of 10 you made an out. Like, well, I hit 300. Or you hit 300 the year before. This year you hit 295. You slid back. What do you mean? A slid back? It creates hard feelings because you're sitting there and they're telling the arbitrator that you're not worth this much because of all these reasons. Well, does that really make you feel wanted?
No. It doesn't. And this is not just the teams that it's penny pinching. You're pinching for tens of thousands here and there. I get it if it was a team not singling them out, but the Pirates who don't spend a lot of money. But when you're the Yankees doing that.
Well, the Pirates don't do second contracts. Yeah. That's the key.
But if you're a Deline Betances and you're getting this happening and they're paying $40 million to 7 different guys, you're like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to play for this team anymore. And then he accepts a contract. He's terrible. And then he gets shipped off somewhere else. And it's just, it is the most ridiculous system. It's the only sport I believe that has arbitration in this, especially in this style.
Yeah, in this style, yeah.
Basketball doesn't have this. Like, no other sport has this. And it, as you said, creates terrible feelings. You know who's going next year, by the way? It's our pre-arbitration, O'Neal Cruz. Next year, he is in pre-arbitration, and for 2 years, it's pre-arbitration, and then 3 years of arbitration, and then the free agency.
And see, what's going to happen is, despite all the promotion about, what he means to the club, how exciting it is to have an O'Neal Cruz, you can go through the whole thing, right? What's the first thing they're going to tell everybody when they get to
injured?
He was out the entire year, is hurt. So we don't know how good he's going to be. I mean, we just can't tell. How good's he going to be? I don't know. It's great. Just makes you want to just fly down to spring training and really just lay out completely. This would be great.
By the way, do you know who the only 2 players under current contract as of next season for the Pirates are? They have 2 total players under contract as of next season.
Reynolds would be one.
Reynolds?
Reynolds is one, and the other one is...
Another obvious one.
It's not Bednar's, is it?
It is not.
No. Ke'Bryan Hayes.
Ke'Bryan Hayes. Those are the only 2 players under contract. Yeah. They currently are paying, as you said, $46.8 million. Big money, Steve.
Yeah.
They are making. Who's the highest earner in baseball currently? Off the top of your head, do you know?
Well, I think right now it might be Judge, isn't it? Isn't Judge number one? I think he passed Trout, and he's passed Cole.
Judge is making $40 million this season.
Yeah.
The Pirates are paying almost his current contract to every player on their roster combined.
Yeah. Well, and he spent how many weeks out?
Too many.
Yeah.
But I look at, I don't want to rant about it, but there's a problem with baseball that I think we've discussed it a lot, the owners of baseball and the differences they have. Like you look at a sport like basketball, where the owners all like a Steve Ballmer or Mark Cuban, they want to go for it. They want to win championships. They want to have fun doing it. Yeah. And they are there, like energetic and all these things. Can you name me one MLB owner who like has real energy ever?
Real energy. Like, George Steinbrenner had real energy.
Yeah, but
he did.
That's about it. Steve Cohen, he's probably the only one I can think of.
Cohen has energy.
He's out there like Cuban is. He's in the similar realm as Cuban.
But he does have energy. He has passion for it. I feel like the Ricketts family has passion for it. The Bush family has passion for it. But the Bush family's quiet under the radar.
Yeah. Baseball's not really an outward sport like basketball is or soccer or even football. Like, you just don't see these guys.
Tom Hicks of Texas with the Rangers. I feel like he is a passionate, like, over the top.
But the fact that it took you this long to think about it, I could have named 10 owners in the NBA who are there every day, who are trying stuff every day.
Well, I mean, Major League Baseball wouldn't. I mean, Mark Cuban wanted to buy the Pirates.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let him. Right? For their taste, too flamboyant, too energetic, and he'd spend a lot of money. And on top of that, he'd be the dominant personality. They don't want a dominant personality.
And that tells you all you need to know about baseball.
He's also a forward thinker. They're not big on that either.
No. And he would have been nice to his players and paid them properly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly.
I guarantee you the Pirates would have had a lot more fun, fans-wise, especially the past few years, if you had Cuban instead of...
Let's see, you bring up the single most interesting point in all of this, all right? And that was the last thing you said. It's competitive, but it's an entertainment industry as well. You are competing against the Taylor Swift tours, the Madonna tours, let's give the credit. I think the Rolling Stones are going back on tour. I mean, let's give Keith Richards a lot of credit. About defying the odds. Go, man, go. Metallica on tour. You're competing with all that kind of entertainment out there on an everyday basis. You're competing with other sports. So Penn State, for example, getting Saturday night 107, 108, whatever, 1,000 in Beaver Stadium is a remarkable number where people have decided to take their entertainment dollar and spend it here. All right? By sitting there and doing what the Pirates have done, and we've been critical about how they have gone about their business. I mean, how do you have a $61 million local TV deal and not spend any of it? How do you get the Balco money, $50 million that fell from the sky, and don't spend any of it, right? Your fans deserve better. And the part about it is that when you've given the Pirate fans something to be excited about, they have turned out in droves. Because now you're fun, you're exciting, you're entertaining, right? Now, are there going to be teams that have bad years? Well, yeah, because on every single night, half the teams win and half the teams lose. I mean, that's why I tried to point out about Texas and Oklahoma going to the SEC. Look how loaded they are. Hey, guess what? They're going to play 8 games on an SEC Saturday. There are going to be 8 winners and 8 losers. And Texas and Oklahoma may be 2 of the teams that lose. It's the same thing in Big Ten. They've got Penn State, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA. Well, guess what? If they play 9 Big Ten games on a Saturday, they're going to be 9 teams that lose.
Yeah.
Okay? There'll be 9 that win. 9 are not going to win. Right? But it's all about entertainment. And the fans want to feel like you're trying to win. The long play is the one that is difficult to convince the fans. The long play. In Philadelphia, they had to buy into the process with the Sixers. Okay? Long play. As it worked out, marginally. They've got Embiid, and they're competitive for, of being in the playoffs, and they can get through an opening round. They're kind of hitting a wall right now. All right? But to tell people in Baltimore it's the long play, and they finally get to see the fruits of the labor now after waiting for years, and then they have an owner that has no idea how to handle it. Or the son of the owner. I mean, Peter Angelos is technically the owner. John Angelos acts like he doesn't know how to handle it. I mean, their lease is coming up. He keeps going, well, what about Nashville? I can assure you, in no uncertain terms, you know who doesn't want to move to Nashville? The other 29 teams in Major League Baseball. You want to know why?
Why?
Because they want Nashville as an expansion city.
Yeah.
Paying, I don't know, $2 to $3 billion as an expansion fee to get in. $2 billion as an expansion fee to get in. Then you add another one at $4 billion, and you divide it up by 30, and everybody gets a check.
Yeah. Steve, I just did some math real quick. I want you to give me your thoughts here. So the average attendance of Eras Tour tickets for Taylor Swift turns every stadium kind of averaged out. I didn't find an exact number of how many fans have attended in the U.S. legs.
Right.
But in total, the average attendance of 72,500 or so.
Yeah.
If you take that for all of her U.S. legs, she had 3.84 million total people attend 50-ish shows.
Yeah.
Only one MLB team throughout the entire season beat her. And she had 50 shows. They had 30 extra games. Dodgers. Only team to beat them. And this was 2019.
Yeah.
The 2019 Dodgers did.
Yeah.
2022 Dodgers lost to her by like 5,000.
Right.
She in 50 shows beat every MLB team out of the water.
And you're competing in the entertainment world, because the Dodgers are also competing with the Rams. Right? They're competing with the Lakers, the Clippers. This is in their own market.
Yeah.
Right? They're not really competing with the Chargers.
No one ever is.
The Kings only to a point, and the Ducks no, because they're 30, 40 miles away. Same thing with the Angels. But you're still competing with those other, just in the world of sports, let alone other entertainment. And people, especially in a world that, has hyperinflation and has, right now, for us, $3.99 a gallon gas, guess what? People are making decisions as to, well, instead of maybe going to 5 events this year, maybe we'll go to 3.
Steve, let's go with the year 2019, just as the year that the Dodgers beat them. The Miami Marlins had 811,000 people attend their games.
That's right.
Taylor Swift got that number in 11 shows.
Right.
11 shows. And she beat out the Marlins season total of fans going to games.
Yep.
That shouldn't happen.
Well, if you're putting out a mediocre product 81 times a year, the fans are not going to respond to it.
Mediocre is being nice. Did the same thing to the Oakland last year. Just about did the same thing to Miami again last year as well.
Well, I believe Miami made the playoffs last year, right?
Yeah, they were the 29th most attended team in baseball, second only to the Oakland Athletics.
And part of its market, too.
Of course.
Okay, I don't know if she played Miami or not. I have no idea. But if she were to go down there, she's doing a show. She's not doing 81 of them. And if she did 81 of them down there would be at some point where it would just whittle down to nothing, because everybody's like, I've already seen your 44 songs.
Fun fact.
I think that's what she sings, like 44 songs.
She does 44 songs, 3.5 hours. She has not played Miami. She's going to in October of next year.
Right. But I'm saying, though, but she's playing a show. It's expensive, but she's playing a show in that city. She's not being asked to put together a 9-game homestand. or what's the attendance going to be by the fourth show that she has there? What's the attendance going to be by show 6? So that's the difference with baseball. You're sitting there like, okay, it's a 10-game homestand, and you're trying to promote and get people out because it's just a number of days that you have to fill. There are differences as opposed to here's the one-shot deal. Everybody come into Acrisure Stadium. She's playing. Okay, everybody, let's go over to whatever it's called, the Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati. She's here. Let's go to SoFi. She's here. Right? It's always a one-shot deal. I remember when Garth Brooks came here, he did 5 shows. And the first 4 sold out, and the 5th one was close. But it's a 15,000 seat arena.
Taylor Swift, the record attendance at Hard Rock, 80,000 people for the BCS game in 2013. 80,000.
Yeah.
Let's say she gets the original number of seats, 75,000, for those 3 shows she's doing in October. October of next year, 75,000. So 225,000 people are going to go see Taylor Swift in 3 nights.
Yeah.
The Miami's going to hit that, a quarter of the way through the season if they're lucky.
But again, you're doing the same thing 81 times as opposed to...
But it's like, there is no reason you should be getting that few attendance. And they're like, oh, we're fine. We're great. We're doing well.
Okay. Let's start. There's a couple things to go. First of all, the Florida franchises, all of them, have struggled. Tampa Bay, the problem they have is that when the Yankees, Orioles, and Red Sox come in, the place sounds like Yankee Stadium, Camden Yards, and Fenway Park. Okay, because of transplants. Their ballpark's in St. Petersburg. Not the greatest place to get to. The Bucks sell out when they're really good. When they're not good, they don't. When the Dolphins sell out because they're great. When they're not, they're okay. The University of Miami has struggled to draw fans because they're nowhere near campus.
Yeah.
They're 20, 25 miles away. The Marlins ballpark is gorgeous, built on the exact same spot where the Orange Bowl was. In fact, they have a tribute to the old Orange Bowl sign that was on the back of the stadium. They have that out there. But no offense, it's not America's greatest neighborhood either.
No. There's...
I mean, look, I've been to how many Orange Bowls, between Orange Bowls and Miami games, how many times I've been to the Orange Bowl. It was a lot. I have not been inside that ballpark, but it's also not the greatest neighborhood. Right? So, Jacksonville's Jacksonville. Orlando does select events.
You know what's crazy?
Florida has a lot of transplants.
The craziest thing to me, and this is how we'll guess wrap up, is that there are a lot of teams now looking at downsizing stadiums because forever it was bigger is better. It has to be, surely.
I said that 10 years ago. Make tickets in demand.
Yeah, make tickets in demand because what is Yankee Stadium? The total attendance you can get Yankee Stadium wise capacity. It's
in the 50s.
It's 46,000. Yeah. So around 46,000 is the capacity of Yankee Stadium. That's pretty big. And that's Yankee Stadium we're talking about here.
When Pittsburgh built PNC Park, it's 38,000. I thought that was a brilliant move in their part.
Yeah.
I mean, brilliant. Wrigley Field is up like 39. Fenway's 36. Those are the older ballparks.
The older ballparks are, a good size.
All right. It turned out that they had it right years ago when it came to the right size. Now, some of that was dictated by how the neighborhood was formed, too.
And, Steve, do you know, to wrap up here, as things currently stand, what team has the highest capacity stadium? MLB.
Highest capacity stadium?
Highest capacity. Number 2 is the Dodgers with 56,000. Right. Who has more?
Who has more? I would say, I'm trying to think of all the ballparks here just off the top of my head. Bang, 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 bang. I'll
give you one hint. My smile. Who do you think?
Not the Mets, is it?
It's not the Mets.
No, I don't know.
It is the Oakland Coliseum, 56,782, and these are facts.
Because that's a football stadium.
It's a football stadium, but those are facts, of course, you can catch here every single weekday on Sports Talk with Steve Jones. Thanks for tuning in to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a Seven Mountains Media production. Check back daily for all the latest sports